What's going on, everyone? It's Mike, it's John back again, and we're talking Everton, obviously. It's fair to say that we are. It was a rough one. It was a rough one on Sunday. We both did our analysis to Julia Bold, who obviously runs BBC Merseyside. We both give her our take. What did you think?
Listen, I've seen Everton put worse performances in, Michael. I mean, we had the woodwork and we did create chances. The first goal, before the game, I don't know what you said on your debrief yesterday, but my take on it was before the game, every Everton fan was a credit to themselves. They were a credit to the club. The people who organised everything, take your hat off to you because you got everything spot on the day. The first goal zapped everything that had been put in before that game out of it. Listen, you can't take nothing away from the goal. It was a worldie.
Yeah.
But the crowd went a bit flat after that. I think the occasion got to the players as well, or certain players, let's just say. Said to you today, in a way, I'm glad the Forest game's away from home this weekend because I think we need that now after everything that, listen, this isn't a pop of everything that went on because I totally 1,000,000% agree with everything that happened the other day on what was organised. But I just think it's got the players and we can't afford to not get nothing from Forest because the 3 games coming up, the position we're in, I said to you today, I'm worried. I'm worried because I know we put good performances in away from home, but our home form hasn't been that good, Michael. If we could get some wins at home, then I wouldn't be so downbeat. But I'm worried because I don't see us getting all these 10 points back. And while this is dragging on with the hearing and, Everton putting the appeal in, with the 3 games we've got coming up after Forest, the players have still got the same mindset that it did affect them like it did the other day. I feel like we might be left adrift, even if we get some points back, because results weren't great for us the other day. We all expected to get something from the United game, especially after the Crystal Palace game. Said to you in the pub before, international break probably come at the wrong time for Everton.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, John. Let's talk about the games that we've got coming up. So obviously at the top of your screen there, you can see that Forest are taking on Everton next Saturday, 5:30 kickoff away at Forest. It's a difficult game, John. It's a difficult game. What do you what's your take on that? What do you think is going to happen in that game?
well, I never thought I'd say this, especially after the season's gone by, but I'm glad we're away from home. I think our away form's been a lot better than the home form. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that. Steve Cooper's under pressure, apparently. I heard that the other day. He possibly could have 1 game to save his season. So, again, it's a tough game. Listen, there's no easy games in the Premier League, Michael. We've seen it when we played Luton. We've seen it with Sheffield United. We've seen it with Wolves. There's no easy games in the Premier League. But if Everton played like we know he can, and, go into this game with the performances in the back of their minds that we've put in away from home, the likes of Palace, the likes of Brentford, then I do expect us to get something from the game. And expecting and actually getting it, Everton don't go well together with them 2 choices, do they, as we know? But we have to get something from this game because the 3 games after worry me. And as I said at the beginning of the video, we can't afford not to get something from Forest. Really, we can't afford not to get the 3 points of Forest, Michael. So I don't want to be cast adrift because I don't see us getting the full 10 points back, as I said. So we need to pick points up as and when we can at the minute.
Yeah, you're right. And I think when I look at those 4 fixtures that are coming up there, Forest away, Newcastle at home, Chelsea at home, Burnley away, weirdly, Everton have been better away from home. And if we're being honest, those fixtures are easier, really, on paper for Everton. Newcastle, although they've got injury-ravaged team, they're still smashing teams. I mean, they smashed Chelsea this weekend. And then we've got Chelsea, who they can't continue to be this bad.
I think Chelsea are probably the same as Everton in a way, Michael. I think we're waiting for Everton, for example, to give someone a beat, especially at home. I was talking to someone today working, and it's as if something just needs to click at home. before we give someone a good beat because we're creating chances. I think I see the stat today. I've created the second amount of chances at home in the Premier League this season in the league. But as I've said on here before, creating chances doesn't keep you in this league. Scoring goals keeps you in this league. Hitting the woodwork doesn't get you 3 points, Michael. So we've got to start taking these chances because, again, as I say, when results don't go our way like they did the other day, we were expecting that everything that was going on before the game give the players a massive lift and we'd go out there, we'd absolutely batter Man United because Man United were firing all cylinders and they beat us 3-0. Then you look at the Luton result, that went against us as well. So when you look at the stats, I actually can't see if there are stats from the other day because I am waiting for my new glasses to come out. I've got to wear them all the time.
They are, John. They are, John. Let's talk about the stats quickly before you go on your narrative. But you're absolutely right with what you're about to say. So Everton had 51% of possession. They had 24 shots to Manchester United's 9. They had 6 on target to Manchester United's 4. They had 6 corners to Manchester United 5s. And they had 10 fouls to Manchester United's 8. But
so
there is
people
a
could look
caveat
at
to
them.
those fouls.
Well, the thing is, people could look at them stats, Michael, and go, well, how the hell did we get beat 3-0? Because we didn't take our chances. It's as simple as that. And this is what I'm saying. We have to start taking our chances. No good having stats like that and having 51%. I mean, when was the last time we probably had more possession than the team we were playing? It doesn't happen very often, does it? You know what I mean? And then we have more possession. We get beat 3-0 at home. Yeah, something's just not clicking. I'll let you finish what you want to say because I do want to single a few players out.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the referee and VAR, if I'm being honest, but I'm probably also going to go into a bit of a segment about Wolves because a lot of the Wolves fans appear to be joining forces with Everton. Actually, a lot of Wolves fans are also equally unhappy with how corrupt the game appears to be. They've had 4 dodgy decisions. We'll all remember the first game of the season against Manchester United. So we'll move on to VAR in a minute. But John, I'll single one player out straight away, and I know we're going to agree with him, but it's Dwight McNeil. Dwight McNeil didn't look bothered at all on Sunday and really disappointed me. A player that we put a lot of trust in last season, a player that come back into a Dyche side against Arsenal last season, and a player that, if I'm being honest, has disappointed me most of the season.
To be honest, he was one of the players, I think I spoke about it on here, since Dyche come in the early days, he was probably one of our most improved players, apart from Abdul Decore.
Yeah.
But when you put performances in like that, you did the other day, like he didn't look interested, People have said he'd done a lot of running, but he'd done nothing with it, and I don't think there's any in between with Dwight McNeil, Michael. I think you either get the performances like he did, which made me say he was one of the most improved players since Dyche come in, or you get performances like he put in the other day. Position we're in with this point deduction hanging over our head and the games we've got coming up, we can't afford to have players like that in the team. There's players who can come in. You mentioned them today to me on the phone. Dan Juma is one of them. He could come in. He could play Dobbin out wide because I think them sort of players will give us more than what Dwight McNeil is giving us at the minute. We can't afford passengers at the minute.
Yeah, you're spot on. And I was just trying to see the running stats if I could find them anywhere. But he must have been up there for not much running. He didn't run much. And then there was a couple of occasions where a centre half would have the ball and look to go left, but he was in the middle of the park. Mikalenko again. I actually didn't think Mikalenko did anything wrong, but at times he actually got ganged up on a little bit because McNeil didn't really do his defensive duty either. So, look, it was a disappointing game for McNeil, and you're right. There was a few players there that didn't play great, in my opinion. I think we really miss Onana, and I know there's different opinions about it, but it's his physicality for me. He doesn't have to be the best on the ball. He doesn't have to be, but it's his presence. We seem to miss it.
I think the midfield works better when he's there, and again, quite right with what you said. We have had different opinions on Onana, but the more I see him when he does playing alongside James Garner. Actually, do see what he brings to the team because again, we brought on a guy in the other day. He's not the player he was when he left us. I mean, he's not going to be, is he? You know, he's a lot older now. But when Anana plays with James Garner in the middle, you do see the better of Anana. And
Yeah,
you do see the better of our midfield as well when them two players are together. You're quite right with what you say. I think the other day Anana was a massive miss because it's not just the things he does when he plays that makes the midfield better. It's what players do around him that also improve us because he allows that. So you get the better from James Garner when Anana's there and vice versa. So again, massive miss.
yeah, completely agree. Let's just move on to refereeing VAR because I think it's a discussion that most clubs will have an argument that they are treated badly, but I think it is absolutely obvious when it comes to both Everton and Wolves. To be fair, I mean, some of the decisions I've seen against Wolves this season are criminal. The one last night was criminal. The one at the start of the season was criminal. We've had a couple of penalty decisions that, if it was another team, absolutely would have got them, and we didn't. It's obvious how bad they want us out the league, isn't it?
Well, I seen the officials for Saturday before. I can't remember the names now. But listen, they've been put there to fuck Everton over again. VAR official and the referee have been brought in for that game to fuck us over. You know, it's pretty obvious now. They're not even hiding the corruption anymore. And this 10-point deduction, if we do get some given back to us, whether it be half points and half suspended, as you quite rightly say, it's pretty obvious that they don't want us in the league. They want a big team to go down, and Everton will be the biggest team to go down since the Premier League started. So if they end up giving us the points back or half the points back, we're going to do it in a different way. And they can only do it one way, by not giving us the decisions that we deserve. We're also giving decisions to the opposition who we're playing,
Yeah,
decisions that they don't deserve, Michael. They're going to do their utmost to get us out their league, and only us as a club and Everton as a team can keep us in the league, Michael, because they're certainly not going. I'm not saying they should help us, but they're not going to. They're not going to give us a chance if they have their way. I seen something today. The top heads at the Premier League are now writing to the government and the MPs to basically say these people, the MPs, who have put letters in saying Everton have been treated horrendously with the 10-point deduction. Big wigs at the Premier League have now writing to the government to say the MPs need to stop getting involved. So if that's the case, then I don't know whether they can do that. I don't know whether they can stop the MPs and the government getting involved. But if they can, you know, there's someone out of our corner who can't battle for us. So, you know, it's a joke. And you mentioned Wolves. It seems the lesser teams, I'm not saying Everton are a lesser team, obviously, but obviously I'm not going to say why they want to out the league again. I've said it enough. But certain teams get treated differently, as you said. The lesser teams and big teams who they want out the league, like Everton. You're one of them top six. It's now top seven with Newcastle there. 99 times out of 100, you'll get the decision that they want to give you, not the right decision, what they want to give you, because they're the darlings of the Premier League, Michael. They're the clamour of the Premier League. Them teams are what make the Premier League the best. Well, I wouldn't say it's the best league anymore. It's fucked, in my opinion, but the biggest league in the world. That's
yeah,
what them teams do. All the likes of Everton do, you know, West Ham to a certain extent, Aston Villa, I know, you know, they're doing really well, but apart from them six, all the rest of us clubs do is make the numbers up. That's all we're there for. We just make the numbers up in the league, so there's enough teams in it to give enough fixtures over the season. That's all we're there for, to make the numbers up if you don't give a shit about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you could. I actually think it's an absolute. I actually think it's a joke, and I think it's obvious now. I think it's obvious how poor they treat us. I think it's obvious how Yeah, I mean the one that
They don't hide it. They're not even trying to hide it.
It will stick with me for a long time. So at the weekend, I think it's Garnacho kicks the ball away. Decore walks over to the referee and says, he's just kicked the ball away. Decore gets a yellow card.
Yeah.
You know, how
hide.
was there 2 or 3 challenges where Everton, one, yes, they might have got a free kick, but the other opposition didn't get a yellow card. There was one from Garnacho. He should have been already on a yellow card, and then he should have got a second yellow, but he didn't. And then, you know, the other one that sticks out in my mind is the game against Liverpool. It's the game against Liverpool. There's there's a penalty. It's a there's a yellow card on the edge of our box on Onana. He doesn't give it. So we're playing with 10 men. They're playing with 11 men. We're in the game. They can't break us down. So he goes, yeah, we'll make sure it's still 11v10. It's just it's criminal, John.
There was a tackle the other day. I think it was by Fernandez on Ashley Young. A bad tackle. Now I'm not saying it was a red, but it didn't even speak to him. It didn't even speak to the United player for that. Now, if that's an Everton player, I guarantee you right now, it's a yellow at minimum. It's a yellow. They don't try to hide it. You know, even the penalty. Look, we had different opinion when we seen each other after the game. I'd seen it back and it was a pen, and you said today, look, you got it wrong. It was a pen.
Yeah.
But to boot the United player for diving, then check the screen, then take the booking off him, then give the penalty. You know, before VAR come in, decisions like that could go for you or could go against you. And I'm not saying it should have went for us because it was a penalty, Michael. But VAR has been brought in again to help the bigger team.
Yeah.
It has. VAR has been brought in, and they're not going to get rid of VAR now because we spent so much money on it. They can't get rid of it. But please do what you're doing, rugby. Let us hear the officials talking. Show it on the screen how you're coming to your decisions. Show us the lines because God knows we don't know what they're saying. We've heard a few audios come out from a couple of decisions this season with the Newcastle and the Arsenal game. Yeah. The officials who were talking to each other, Michael, didn't know they're asking their help. And then when he said start the game again, he's going, oh, hang on, don't start the game again. It's already started. You can't stop the game. You know, if you're going to use VAR, use it properly because you've spent that much money on it. If you can't get it right by now, when you look at some of the leagues in Europe who've got it, you never get none of this shit.
No.
You never get none of this shit. And another thing I think you should do, know all these homegrown referees who we have managing, refereeing in the Premier League. Bring referees over from other countries where there's no allegiances to anyone. You know, bring European referees over here and send the English referees into the European League. Because then we'll know the decisions that are getting made in the official's opinion are the right decisions. Because I'm telling you now, we can't enjoy the game anymore. No. When you don't know what you're going to be putting up with VAR, you don't know what you're going to be putting up with the officials, with decisions. Then you score a goal. Then you've got to check VAR. You celebrate. Then you have to wait. Then you celebrate again. The game's gone. The game's gone. And until the bias stops and they get this VAR right and they get proper officials in with no bias who know how to do the job and don't make it so fucking blatantly obvious that they want certain teams to suffer and to struggle and to not get the points and to be relegated, the game's fucked. The Premier League will no longer be the biggest league in the world. And the only people who are going to be to blame for that are the FA and the Premier League officials and the people who run VAR. Going to shoot themselves in the foot because people will start getting pissed off with it.
Yeah, spot on. You can't legislate for these things. The Premier League. I used to enjoy watching the football. You know, I used to really enjoy it. I used to watch all of the other games. I used to watch Match of the Day. I used to, you know, Everton win, lose or draw. I'd watch Match of the Day. I'd get the analysis. Every week we talk about VAR now. Every week, whether it be a decision in our game or a decision in another game, it's a joke. And the other thing that pisses me off is the offsides. I mean, we saw this week. We were fortunate enough before the Everton game. There was a good game of football. Tottenham against Villa, and look how many times Son was offside. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the decision wasn't right, but they take like 5 minutes to decide.
When we could see it by watching it just on the telly.
That's
That he was off.
Yeah. Some of the decisions I find absolutely mad, and I think if it looks offside, just give it.
Yeah,
but
totally agree.
I honestly, I'd scrap VAR tomorrow. And Gary O'Neill, he come out last night after his game, and his comments were spot on. And he said, "I backed it, and now don't back it. I'm not for it." Those Wolves fans, I've been seeing them on Twitter. They're joking with us. Make sure you bring some of them purple leaflets down with you when you come and play us in a few weeks, because they've had enough as well. They've had enough. They're done. So the Premier League.
Each week now, you're going to get, or every couple of weeks, you're going to get another team who's against VAR or another manager, and eventually it will only be these Sky babies that agree with VAR and love it and get the majority of the decisions because this is what they want, Michael. It's just that little bunch of teams. You look at the league now, the top four's taking shape already. Three teams there who are going to finish there. Don't know what order, and they're just waiting for the other one now. It's already taking shape because they're doing it because they have to do it like that because that's the pull. That's the pull that gives the Premier League what it is, and they used to go on about the Premier League was the best league in the world. Personally, the way it's going now, I don't think it's the best league in the world. I don't think there's the best league in the world anymore because football is a business. It's corrupt. It's not run properly. It's run by the wrong people. The officials don't know their arse from their elbow. The VAR's fucking it. So there's no good league anymore until they start treating teams all the same and treating fans all the same and spend their hard-earned money to go home and away every week to people who pay Sky subscriptions. I tell you what, I wouldn't fucking pay for Sky. Everyone should cancel Sky, especially after the other day when they blanked everything out. They put their own audio and they didn't show any banners in the Gladys Street. The Man City game, they didn't show the players going over. Fucking cancel Sky. Get rid of Sky. Hate them where it fucking matters. Because I'm telling you now, football's finished until they can get decisions right and the right people are in place to run this business that is football now and the best league in the world apparently. It's finished because, as I said before, Everton just make the numbers up. Not just Everton, the lesser teams in the Premier League, Michael. We're not a lesser team compared to some of them teams, and that's no disrespect to them teams. We're not a lesser team. We've been successful, but the way us, for example, get treated now, and it's not even hid anymore. It's so fucking blatantly obvious. It smacks us in the face how much they want us down. It's fucked. It's fucked.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't know if I'm moving when I'm looking at the other screens. I don't know if I'm freezing or not. But Everton have made a signing today, or not confirmed signing, but they are approaching, and they're hoping to sign a young. I'm trying to find his name. A young lad from Ireland.
Linfield. It's Linfield.
From Linfield, yeah, and he's 16 years old. He's meant to be a pretty good goal scorer. We've had some success of signing people from Ireland before. Look at our captain, Seamus Coleman. It's positive that we're looking at young players again. My only concern when we sign these young players is how much of an opportunity they're going to get. But it's positive that we're moving for a player like with young, talented experience. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is rumours have recently come out that Everton were preparing to offer Sean Dyche a new deal. But after the 10-point deduction, they've scrapped that for the time being. What's your take on that one as well?
but I didn't know we'd be offering in talks for the new deal anyway. It's the first I've heard of that. I don't think it matters whether we get the 10 points back or not, Michael, or half of it, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of Everton fans, if you can have a problem with this, need to take the blue tinted glasses off. The position Everton Football Club are in now is the best we can get. Not going to attract anyone. So what's the point in getting rid of him? You know, I wouldn't give him a new deal because I don't think I'm not saying he hasn't earned it. You know what I mean? We stayed up last season with him, and apart from the 10 points that we've had, I think we could have 14 points now. So he hasn't had a bad start to the season. But let's just sort what's going on upstairs first before we think about offering managers more contracts. I take a contract. But again, if that's true, and we do, as I've said to you, the position we're in, mate, who's going to come to Everton? Who's going to come to that shit show? Because it's every day. And I know I'm sounding disillusioned tonight. I'm probably putting a damper on the video, but I probably speak for a lot of Everton fans every day, whether it's on the media or social media or in the paper or what have you. There's always some negativity, isn't there?
Yeah.
No, the 777's gone quiet. As I said to you on a couple of videos gone by, you know, a lot of people don't want 777. I don't want 777, but who's going to come to Everton? Which big investor's going to come to Everton and pay? You know, 777 are being put money into the club, so they're going to want their money back if they don't come in. Then you've got Bell and whoever, the other fella from Ormskirk, the Everton fans, they put money in, they're going to want their money back. The machine is going to want some money, then the ground's going to be finished. Who's going to come to Everton and pay all that money when we've got a 10-point deduction? Well, it's not even hanging over our head anymore. We've got an appeal, but we've got it. No, we've got the 10-point deduction. Who's going to come into Everton and start spunking money everywhere? No one with sense. Would you?
No, I wouldn't.
So this is the thing. So going back to what you said about the contract, let's sort everything else out first before we start giving average managers new contracts, a new contract. Sort the other shit out that's going on first. Because he's got a contract. It's not due to end anytime soon. But can sort the other shit out first before you start thinking of things like that.
Yeah, and then the last one just to end on. And I'm only mentioning this because I really liked him as a footballer, but Phil Jagielka has officially retired at the age of 41 today. I'm not going to say he was a brilliant captain because I always felt that he could talk more. I didn't think he was 100% a leader, but one thing he did do is he did give his all for Everton. I never disrespected that of him. And he was a good servant to the club.
He was. Come from Sheffield United, ended up going back there when he left Everton, I think.
Yeah.
Spent his last year and a half at Stoke, 40 England caps. You know, so he's been a good player. You don't play 40 times for England if you played for Everton, especially because apart from Pickford, you don't really touch us because we're not part of that loving army. You know, we've seen Harry Maguire gets picked for England, but doesn't play for United or wasn't. So it does depend who you play for. British media have always picked the England squad, the England team, in my opinion. Now you've started me again. So to play 40 times for England when he was playing for Everton, most of the time, I think probably all that's when he got all his caps playing for Everton. You know, you're not a poor player. So I just wish him a happy retirement. You know, never forget the goal he scored against Liverpool. I was there outside the box. You know what a hit that was. Probably the highlight of his career. That really was. He had promotion with Sheffield United as well. But listen, wish Phil all the best in his retirement. And if we suffer with injuries, I'm sure he can come back in and get in the team before fucking Michael Keane.
Perfect. Right, guys, look, we are going to leave it there. We've gone on for about half an hour. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I'm trying a few things out. I've got a bit of a new setup here, so you would have seen a few different things on the screen and whatever. So I'm just trying a few things out. But John, thank you for coming on as always.
Welcome.
We will hopefully touch base just before the match preview. Hopefully you are up for it because I have got us going to war with Nottingham Forest Fan TV if you are available. So it'll be the two of them against the two of us. And I have said that you're primed and ready to go. I said you're going to give it to them. I said you're ready, you're locked and you're loaded. So hopefully we can get that all sorted, that the four of us are involved. So
yeah,
we'll see you soon, guys. Keep smiling. Up the toffees. Peace.
cheers, everyone.